Hi, welcome back to GP Reactions. This is the last song in my marathon of songs from the summer of 1981. There are other songs which I haven't touched on. I will come back to them at some point in time. So I'm going to be reacting to the video of, hopefully reacting to the video of the specials with Ghost Town. And this was, I think this was a standalone single, and it was, I believe, the last single that was released by the specials before they went their separate ways, which is a little bit sad. And it was released on the 12th of June. But what a great way to go out. They were actually number one for 3 weeks in the UK Top 40. So without further ado, I'm going to dive into this video. This is the first time I've seen this video for about 6-7 years. And I'm kind of really interested. It's another locational video as well, which adds another layer of interest for me. So let's get straight into this.
This storm is coming like a ghost town. All the clubs are being closed down. This place is coming like a ghost town. Bands won't play no more. Too much fighting on the dance floor.
So I'm going to, sorry to pause it there. I just love the way this video kind of starts. It just feels very much like a New Orleans funeral march, which is kind of interesting. I think a lot goes into like these funerals in New Orleans. It just kind of has that feel to it. So it's kind of depressing in an uplifting kind of way, and it's got a kind of haunting music as well, which sort of sets the scene. It's not like a ghost town sort of thing, but it kind of feels like death, the death of something. It's very haunting, this flute is. Is it flute?
This storm is coming like a ghost storm. Why must the youth fight against themselves? Government leaving the youth on the shelf. This place is coming like a ghost town. No job to be found in this country. Can't go on no more. The people getting angry.
So that was the specials with Ghost Town. I loved the end of the video. It was like the wind whistling through empty, desolate town or city. There was nothing been left to chance in this song or this video. This town is coming like a ghost town. All the clubs are being closed down. I mean, the beginning of the song, it's as if they're mourning the loss of activities, the loss of maybe employment, the loss of social spaces. You just kind of feel that everything's been left to rack and ruin, and it's deteriorating before their very eyes. And even the harmonies that come in at various points, that is almost like the screaming of people in anger, perhaps. It was definitely a social song about a social commentary on the state of the United Kingdom at this time. Then there's a lot of nostalgia as well in it when he sings, "Do you remember the good old days before the ghost town? We sang and danced and the music played in a boom town." It's very uplifting, and even the trumpets that were playing were very very exultant. It was kind of triumphant. Do you remember these times? Those days were great. We used to go dancing, we used to go singing. I remember those times. So it's very nostalgic, and this is in direct comparison to the beginning of the song, where all of it has been lost, and then the memory kicks in of what it used to be like. I kind of feel that this really was. Maybe it was a realistic look at how Coventry was. Coventry is where this band comes from, the specials. And like many cities of that time, they were particularly run down. There's a lot of unemployment. Right at the end of the video, they're all stood around throwing rocks into a river. I think that might be the Thames. Again, it's just like kind of boredom, nothing to do, nowhere to go, no jobs for government putting a youth on the shelf. That was another lyric. That was very. I think government putting the youth on the shelf is direct commentary on perhaps the state of unemployment. The fact that a lot of kind of people, a lot of youth they weren't kind of being looked after the way they maybe should have done at that time, and I think actually when this song came out, I think this would have been at the same time as the 1981 riots. Which again, it's poverty, unemployment, racism, anything and everything went into that melting pot at that time. The government really of this time were, I'm kind of guessing, really took their eye off the ball as far as folk were concerned. And I think inner cities probably had the brunt of this. All in all, I think this song was in reference to Ghost Town, was in reference to the state of the UK at the time of this song, which was 1981. Although it could possibly reference maybe World War, Coventry during the World War. Coventry was a really heavily bombed city during the Second World War, and maybe it was it kind of works on that level as well. Although I think with that I'm probably clutching at straws. The fact that they're talking about the present day about how youth are left on the shelf by the government would kind of suggest that this is definitely a social reference to the social situation of a time. A lot of buildings were derelict as well, so there wasn't money being put into the inner cities either. It's kind of no wonder that this was a number one, really. I think it probably touched a nerve with a lot of people, not just youngsters. There's a lot of people affected by unemployment at that time, and it's a really interesting video to watch. And as much as I can say I enjoyed it, it does, to me, looking back at it now, as I was unemployed in 1984, I think we had about 4 million unemployed, which is was a tremendous amount for that time. And I think there wasn't a sort of an equal kind of amount of unemployment at this time. So for me, that touches a nerve with me as well. Even though I may not have appreciated the lyrics of this song for what they really meant at that time, I would have probably just hummed away with the chorus and maybe a few verses or something. And also it's a really interesting. Again, I love locational videos, especially from the 80s. They kind of take you back in time. So you're maybe looking at stuff that doesn't actually exist physically now, buildings and stuff, which is probably a good thing, really, if the money wasn't there to kind of regenerate these places at that time. So, but it's great. And the video is very dark as well, which kind of lends to the whole aspect of death. Maybe reading too much into it. Enjoyable all the same. Let me know what you think or feel about this video, especially if you lived through this time as well. I was only 13, so it's hard for me to comment on anything of that. I had brothers who were older than me, who were of a working age, so they probably have more of an idea about what this song means than I do. But yeah, let me know what you think or feel about this song. I'm really interested in your kind of memories and anything, kind of technical aspect of this song. I'm never very good when I'm trying to describe singing or trying to describe or instruments and stuff, which makes me sound like a terrible person to react to songs. But I generally go with a gut feeling with music. And this one's actually quite good for me because I feel I'm reading quite a lot into it, possibly more than there is. So you let me know what you think and feel. Pop a comment in the box below, and till next time, take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you soon.